Good morning from Sweden. I hope you are well. This is the 14th of February 2026 and this is our morning reflection using the I Ching. So today, as every morning, we're looking at the energies around us today and getting a bit of a map to see where we're heading and how to navigate these energy best in order to ensure a smooth and joyful way forward throughout the day. So we're starting by bringing ourselves into the present. So place yourself firmly on the seat below. So whether you're sitting on the floor, if you're sitting on this seat, if you're sitting on the chair, put your feet down on the floor and connect them to the surface below you, and then feel tree roots growing out through the feet and then connecting deep into Mother Earth. Okay, and then as you breathe in, your spine rises towards the sky and your crown points connect to the universe above. And as you breathe in, your stomach expands, and as you breathe out, it contracts. And feel this movement in the spine. As you breathe in, it rises, and as you breathe out, it's you sinking down into the seat. But your spine remains rising towards the sky, okay, although you relax a little bit. So the movement is micro movement. And now, if you like, you can empty the stomach out, empty the lungs out completely of all air, and then continue breathing in and out through the nose. Filling the lungs with fresh chi, fresh air. Focusing on the movement of the stomach as you fill, it expands, and as you breathe out, it contracts. So let's check which hexagram we're getting today. So first find the main energy of today. So how do the energies look like today, and how do we best proceed forward in order to have a smooth and joyous day ahead forward as possible? So heaven, earth, fire, water, thunder, wind, wood, mountain, a lake. I think that one needs to be earth. So we got heaven. Anyway, so all yang. Qian, initiating, heaven. So how do the energies look like today, and how do we best navigate them in order to have the most smooth and joyous day forward? Heaven, earth, fire, water, thunder, wind, wood, mountain, lake. So we got this one turning up again. We got earth over heaven. So all yin, which is a sinking energy. Earth is like sinking down, right? It's solid, grounding, nourishing energy. And then we got heaven below. So we had this one before, only a few days ago. So we've got Qian. No, sorry. Kun and Qian. Let's have a look and see how this is changing. So we've got heaven and earth meeting. As earth above heaven. So, and then meeting, so in union. So we're going into union here with ourselves and also with everything around us. So let's see where we are exactly in the process of this hexagram, and also what we're moving into. So first 9, second 9. So which means more yin, 4 yin and 1 yang, 2 yang, sorry. So we've got Li, fire, and that's creative force. It's illuminating force, allowing us to see what we are receiving here. So kun is receptive, right? Receiving, the responding, and nourishing, like everything from earth, all the fruit and plants and crops and all this that nourishes us, okay? The water flowing in our oceans, in our rivers, and underground from springs, in our wells. Like the earth is giving, is very giving energy. It's our mother, and then the father is or the heavens above is our wisdom and the consciousness, and where everything springs from. And Kyan in double becomes the first hexagram, and that's initiating, and that's the spark, the initial spark before anything is being created. It's the initial spark in any creation of any type. And kun is the second step, is but the receiving this spark, and then with that growing this seed into a little plant or to a little baby or to your project or your idea, your creation, maybe your great big painting or whatever it is, right? It's being produced with nourishment. And here we've got the fire underneath that is illuminating, very illuminating, so allowing us to view very clearly. So we've got a sinking energy, and fire again is a rising energy. It's a fire under earth. It's a rising. So there's also a mixing, right? So they're going the opposite direction, or they're going towards each other, right? Meeting. And then let's have a look at, so we've got yang, yang, yin, which is Dui, lake, and then we got yang, yin, yin, which is that is thunder over lake. So we've got a thunderstorm over lake here. And then we need to make sure we've got this lake is joy, but it's also the joy that comes from a solid within, right? That we are stable within. And if we are stable within and not being affected by everything that goes around us, lots of joy is allowed to rise without. And like yesterday, I had a day where I was being so affected by everything around me. So I felt this rising anger rather than this joy. It's really, I've got some people around me that have not been treating me very well, right? And it's affecting me, right? And yesterday I was really affected by it. So I wasn't this solid, I didn't manage to keep this solid center. So what rose from me was anger. I didn't go around and shout it and being angry at people, but I could feel it within, right? It wasn't until the end of the day that I managed to actually cultivate myself as well, and then subdue this anger and then turn it into joy, and actually manage to get my center solid, right? So then in the end I could live joyously. It took some work. So, and thunder is a very active movement. It sort of shakes things up as well. So in this one we had the other day as well, thunder over lake. Lake is sinking, thunder is across, really stirring up things. And this, I must say, this was really the energy for me yesterday. I was really being tested. Lots of things in my environment that was really triggering, I must say. So we got Sen over Dui, which was 54. So that's 54. That is what's sort of underneath the surface today. Not so much out there in the open. Which was, for me, very much so actually for me yesterday, until I managed to center myself. And then from the center of me, the center of this lake, which is solid, I actually managed to transmute it into joy, and the day ended very joyfully. So kun and kian, kun over kian, which is 11. That's the main energy. And then we've got kun over li, which is 36. 36. Kun, li, 36. So 54. Which is marrying maiden. So marrying maiden is, I do apologize about my handwriting there, scribbles, but I'm sitting in a really weird direction. So yeah, marrying maiden is all about relationships. So let's read that first, and then we just take it with us as a reminder. So marrying maiden, moving forward in misfortune, nothing is favorable. Marrying maiden exposes the relation between heaven and earth. If heaven and earth do not unite, all things fail to flourish. Marrying maiden represent the end and beginning of human relations. Joy with movement. Marrying off a young maiden, moving forward misfortune. Places are not correct. Nothing is favorable. Yieldings are mounted on the firm. So when we are like this, like I was being triggered an awful lot yesterday, it's very important that we do not allow it to react, allow ourselves to react in a way that we end up like lashing out at people and doing, because this is just triggering, all right? But also we shouldn't just suppress it, because we end up getting headaches and it's not very good, because it creates a lot of stress. So we need to really look at it and then start to transmute it. And look at it, what is it that's triggering me? Should it really be triggering me? Is this some old wounds that are being triggered by people around me? And then actually handle them. And then in the end, transmute them into this center, joy, this strong center from where we can radiate joy instead of having this anger bubbling within. So, and this is talking about, right, so we need to return to home. And returning to home is coming back to ourselves, being centered within ourselves, being safe within ourselves. Not having, we're having walls up and the roof on top, but not walls up in a way to keep everything out, but it's to protect ourselves from stormy winds, from cold weather. So we've got a home to go in, that we can go in and be warm and safe. And this is what we need to make sure our inner is, this inner center where we are being warm and safe. So clear boundaries again is very important, but also not being affected so much by what's going on around us. So that's sort of the underlying energies here. It's bubbling underneath. So let's have a look at 11, which is after fulfillment, which we had, which is advanced. So we're moving forward, okay? We are moving forward. And here we are, two hands, we've got a river flowing, water that's moving. And here we are spreading chi. It's like sharing with everyone around us. And this is joy, right? Or this is energy, this is nourishment that we are sharing. So Thai apparently is one of the most advanced, most auspicious words in the Chinese language. Originally it meant more than or most. It generally indicates a condition of being more than great. Thai also means peace, safety, security, good health, or it suggests progression, proceeding, advancing. Yeah, both Willem and Blofeld translate Thai as peace. So peacefully moving forward in progress, okay? So finding peace. So this, when we are being triggered, cultivate it into peace instead. But realize that you're being triggered, okay? And then through maybe breath work or a little bit of meditation, help transmute it into peace. So you have this peaceful center that you can share then with the world, like a mother hen spreading her wings over the chickens, her little chickens. And then after fulfilling one's duty with composure, one feels peaceful and safe. Thus, after fulfillment, advance follows. So fulfillment is about sharing our duty with the universe, doing our duty towards the universe and all sentient beings, which is our soul's purpose. And sharing ourselves truthfully. Being ourselves truthfully. And then doing what's best for everyone, okay? Although it might trigger you or it might upset your ego, upset our ego, right? Which is very terrible. But we need to think of what is best for everyone. So just center, calm that center, and then produce joy instead to the surface, and then share that with the people around you. And then now is the time to advance forward. So advance. And then let's have a look at 36 as well. So see where we are moving into, which is Brilliance Injured. In Brilliance here we're talking about the fire. Brilliance Injured, which is the Brilliance Injured. Let's have a look at the element, which is earth. Earth. Marry Maiden, which is wood. And through being triggered, we have the possibility to grow as a person, right? Rather than lashing out and showing everyone how we're being triggered, we can cultivate this as the inner peace. So, and turn it into joy instead, and to a gift for everyone rather than something toxic that we share with the world. So growth, wood is about growth, right? And transmuting anger and resentment and frustration. And 11 is also earth, so very tie, and then earth. Earth. So that's where we are at the moment. So let's go into it a little bit more deeper. So heaven is above and earth below. That is the natural phenomena we find in our daily life. However, in this gua, heaven descends to the lower gua, earth ascends to the upper gua. The situation seems appropriate. Naturally, heaven stands above and moves downward, and earth stands below and moves upward. Yet in Thai, heaven and earth are moving together in communion. In this way, they fulfill their duality. Okay, let's read the decision. Advance. The little is departing. The great is arriving. Good fortune, prosperous and smooth. So we are the little, are all the negative ways that we are responding or reacting to things like anger and frustration. And when we are being very naive as well, like a little toddler is lashing out, throwing a tantrum. And then many adults continue this behavior all into adulthood and all throughout their life, right? And that is the little, because that means there is no progress. Like a little toddler has just started their life, and they're learning how to sort of find peace within themselves as well. Eventually, this is what we are supposed to be doing, like becoming more wise and growing up and maturing. But a lot of people are not doing this, okay? So continuing like lashing out and And we can just look at the world, right? All the violence, all the wars, and all the ego. Oh, I want this, that, and the other, and I have the right to do this. Like Donald Trump with Greenland, for example. It's just a little toddler, right? But he's got so much power, so he can do a lot more damage than a little toddler can do. A little toddler would kick and scream and maybe bite, right? At the worst. But like somebody who's grown up and supposedly should have been an adult, but it's still this little toddler, it can do a lot of damage if it gets into those situations where it's got lots of power within this. Now we've got actually something that's been very strong. It's the enabler. The enablers are the danger. It's not the person throwing a tantrum or being angry or whatever. Right? Okay, of course, a person being angry can punch you. That's obviously a problem. So I'm not minimizing that in any way, shape or form. If you're in a situation where somebody's being violent and are threatening you and might be beating you, yeah, get out, right? That is danger in itself. But if you look at like in a situation, quite often, like with alcoholics, or when you got like a narcissist energy in the family or in the workplace or around you or as a leader for a country, that person is not really the most dangerous person. It's the enablers around, right? Who cannot see the behavior, who don't want to see the behavior, and then are sort of supporting this person because they are so unaware. And being this unawareness is this ignorance. It's ignorance. It's like that's also like a little toddler. Although they might not throwing tantrums, they might be more kind, have a kinder, but they are like, constantly trying to soothe people. And then so they got their own trauma, like feel that they have to help this person constantly, right? And then not seeing what damage they are doing. And then in doing this, being this enabler, you or the persons who are these enablers, they are creating the problems. They are creating problems. They are creating damage, although their intention is not to do damage or harm and hurt and all this. But because of their ignorance, they cannot see clearly because it's not illuminated for them. They have too many veils. It's like darkness around them. So they can't see this situation for what it is, and then they're enabling in, and then in that way they end up harming other people, right? So harm is not just created by somebody who's evil and hurtful or violent or whatever. It's like all the enablers around that are helping, like literally helping this person harm other people because they are holding, constantly being there to legitimize this person's behavior. Oh no, but he's just have so much anxiety and he does that and he doesn't mean that, and blah blah blah, and it's just causing distractions. So I've got this around me very much so. And I must say, I was thinking yesterday, it felt like as this was moving in, and this energy, it goes really quickly, right? And it goes in, and it was like being drawn into a black hole. When you're standing, you're realizing that you're standing all alone because everyone around you are not seeing this energy, and then they are endorsing it or like looking after, oh no, but he has so much anxiety, and he feels bad about not doing these kind of things, and oh yeah, and constantly allowing this behavior and then finding reasons why this person is doing things and then helping that. And then I remember I could see it, just almost like being drawn into a dark hole because the only one who's standing there is seeing this. And then you are becoming the person who becomes actually the ones who are being harmed, right? The violence is being towards you, but nobody sees it. And they're asking you, in my case, they're just asking me constantly, oh, but give him another chance, and oh yeah, he has so much anxiety, and blah blah. So this person was just talking like, and wrapping them around this little finger. So, and I remember yesterday, it felt like I came out of darkness in like December, January. It's like I've been down like a really dark hole, but I've now walked out of it because I set a really strong boundary saying I'm not being part of that. If that's what you want, go for it. But I am not going to be part of it. Although it's still around me. So I'm being triggered at times. But that is for me to work with. Okay, I know what the situation is. I am actually, it is illuminated, but I am being triggered sometimes. So there's more work for me to do. And maybe you're in the same situation here. You can see clearly, right, what is going on, but it's you need to do more work on yourself so you're not being so triggered. Because when you're being triggered, all this anger and resentment is rising, and that's doing damage to you, okay? But then obviously, if you are in a dangerous situation, get yourself out of there, okay? Do that. And with all these situations, yeah, you need to get out as soon as possible. It's not very good. So, commentary on the decision: advance, the little is departing, the great is arriving, good fortune prosperous and smooth. Heaven and earth unite, all beings come into union, the upper and the lower link, their wills are the same. So this is actually, the little is departing, the little is all these negative feelings like the anger and frustration and lashing out and being this little toddler who don't see anything and is just throwing tantrums. Like being the energy of this, although you are an adult, or we are adults, but having all this being affected, everything around us, instead then bringing in harmony and peace, that's the great is arriving. Peace and harmony and compassion and love for all beings, like even the ones that are harming you, right? But you might want to have that from a distance, or you will want to have that from a distance. Don't get too involved, right? You cannot change people. This is very important to know. You cannot change people. This is what we're trying to do. Like, it's so frustrating. We keep on banging our head against the wall. We're going, oh, I'm just going to change him. Or if I can just repeat myself one more time. If I can just repeat myself one more time, can't you see the problem here? And then, but if people don't want to listen, they're not going to listen. And it's futile. You cannot change people. They're going to have to want to change themselves. Right? They're going to have to see the situation themselves. So all you can do is sort of withdraw yourself from it and then cultivate your inner peace. This lake here, this solid inner. And then when your inner peace is there, that it comes from within, then you can radiate joy on the surface, true joy, and then remain calm. Although there's a thunderstorm coming all around you, like it's a great big tornado even all around you, you are always the center, the peaceful center in the middle. And that's what like great teachers like Dalai Lama, for example, that's him. These are enlightened beings. A lot of these are great teachers, Rinpoches, and like Nelson Mandela, like sat in prison for 29 years and still came out and was peaceful and joyful, right? But these are great beings, but they cultivate their inner being. Right? And there's really no difference between you and them. The difference, like you are the same, you're a human being, it's the same essence in the center. It's just that we have not come to that level of understanding of the universe and what is going on. And we still have so many veils. So we cannot see through. There's so many veils that we cannot see through. So we are not there. But we are all living Buddhas. Although we have all these veils and layers of karma and trauma embedded in our fascia, that sort of keeps on tripping us up, keep on making us do the same thing over and over and over again. Okay, and this is no judgment on you, like, oh, everything is your fault, right? There's only one person that is true that you can change, and it is you, okay? And you need to work on yourself. But you take help, right? Reach out and get help from people around you that are trained, like mental health professionals. If you're suffering from like deep depressions, or you're going through, if you've got some sort of mental illness or something, get help, right? Same thing as with the body, right? If we break a leg, we go to the hospital. If our mind is in disarray, we go and we get like a mental health professional, and we can start with meditation and breath work, which is wonderful tools, right? And then going within, and then starting to see our patterns and seeing, hang on, that repeated itself again. And then so we can cultivate the little into the great. right? So we become more and more of this peaceful person, okay, that are compassionate and loving, but yet with strong boundaries, okay? So heaven and earth unite, all beings come into union, the upper and lower link, the wills are the same. So this is uniting, yeah. So we're sort of uniting with ourselves and uniting with the universe. And from this point we can create from love and joy. The inner is the yang, the outer is the yin. The inner is the strong, the outer is the gentle. The inner is the superior, the outer is the inferior. Thus, the way of the superior is expanding, the way of the inferior is shrinking. So the hexagrams goes from bottom to top. So the yang lines are here eating away at the yin lines. So the inner is the inner of you. Cult actually can look at it. The inner is growing here. So you are becoming more wise. You are advancing. So this advance is you advancing into a greater person. Us advancing into a greater person. Us growing up and maturing. Us slowly moving away from this toddler behavior with the tantrums and being easily triggered. And then moving into a mature person who can share love and joy in no matter what situation. However, we do not suppress emotions, we transmute them, okay? We look at them, and if we need, and then transmute them into, look at them and see where they're coming from, okay? Why am I being triggered now? And then realizing, oh, this is something that's not really about now, it's about something I've learned many years ago. And then from there we can start changing and be catching it, and then we can change it, and it becomes softer and softer each time. Although this it could be a very long process, okay? But keep doing that. So, and we're not suppressing, we're not putting a lid on our anger, because then that will just bring tightness and headache. So we just want to transmute it into peace and acceptance and acceptance for the situation. Okay, this is the situation right now. It's crazy at the moment. So, but accept that. It doesn't mean that you have to stay there. And then you don't have to accept being shouted at, or you don't have to accept the emotional or physical abuse or anything. That's not the acceptance. If that's the situation you are in, you take yourself out of that. And if you need help taking yourself out of that situation, then get that help to get yourself out of that situation. But accept the situation, okay, this is the way it is. And then from there, because when you're angry, then you cannot think clearly. Or if you don't believe in yourself, you can't think clearly, right? You just got to find this peace in the acceptance. Okay, this is the situation right now. And then go, how do I get myself out of it? How do I create a life that is better? How do I move away from this into something better? And then with that, so that's where we need acceptance and forgiveness. But that's the next step. Forgiveness, if we don't forgive, we keep on harming ourselves. But forgiveness can be very, very, very difficult. If somebody's really done some harm to us, harming us or someone around us. But ultimately, if we keep on going around and being angry and cannot forgive, then the only person we are harming is really ourselves. Keep on repeating to harm ourselves. But that is a difficult step to take. I know that. So, but look after yourself and make sure that you are as strong in the center as possible, so you can actually bring joy to yourself and the world around you. Okay, let's have a look at the changing line, which is the second 9. Embracing great rivers, fighting a tiger with bare hands. Oh, right, here was some power. Crossing a river with bare feet, abandon not the remote, click dissolves, obtain esteem by walking the central path. Okay, the central path. Embracing all the wasteland and act in accordance with the central path. He is shining with glorious and great radiance. Okay, so we are going through some difficult time, but this we can do this, right? By remaining peaceful and calm within, and then observing and seeing our triggers, and see if we can transmute that. So we can do this. Although, like we were talking about embracing great rivers were very difficult to cross, and they still are, right? You need a boat, solid boat, to get across, and maybe help as well. But now we're embracing great rivers. Doesn't mean you're going to go and throw yourself in a river. Not at all. This is This is a metaphor. It's right now we are in a tough, maybe dangerous situation, okay? But just embrace it, accept it. Okay, this is it. Fighting a tiger with bare hands. This might be what we need to do. But acceptance, and then find the best way forward to get yourself out of the situation, okay? With as little harm as possible. So let's have a look further. The line is the host of the gua. This line is the host, so that's the host, the second line. The Yao text employs a classic allusion to demonstrate the quality of advance that ends with good fortune. It says fighting a tiger with bare hands, crossing a river with bare feet. This allusion is so well known that it's adopted in the book of Confucian Analects. Once Confucius' disciple Zilu asked, if master had the conduct of 3 armed services and of a great state, whom would you have to act with you? Confucius said, I would not have him act with me, who will fight a tiger with his bare hands across a river with bare feet, dying without any regret. My associate must be the one who proceeds to action full of watchful attention, who is good in stratagems and then carries them into execution. Okay, yeah. Look at the situation and then start accepting, okay, this is not good at the moment, okay? But then you can find this inner peace, and then you can watch the situation, and then you can find the best way forward to get out of the situation, okay? And then move into situations that you want to. Because remember, the theme of February is to start our soul's purpose, okay? So don't get, waylaid by triggers within you, the people triggering you, or situations triggering you. Don't get waylaid. Accept, look at the situation, watching, and then make your plan to move forward, to advance with great wisdom. Okay, I'd say advance with great wisdom, because great wisdom you get when you watch things and see them for what they are. Okay, advancing with watchful attention and stratagems is the true message of this line. Okay, so let's have a look. So that is actually advance alternates to brilliance injured. So 36. So let's see what the injured stands for. Brilliance obviously is enlightening, putting a light on something, but the brilliance is underneath and earth is above. So let's have a look. Let's read this one actually. Ming signifies brightness, brilliance. Yi has more than 10 meanings in the Chinese language, so Mingyi. As a verb, it means to raise, to exterminate, to injure. Literally, Mingyi means that one's brilliance is injured. William translates Mingyi as darkening of the light. In Blofeld, it is darkening of the light, injury. However, in Chinese, Guang is the word that refers to the brightness of a light. Ming indicates the brilliance of one's mind, intelligence and virtues. Okay, so actually make sure, whatever is going on currently, which is really that bit here, right, where you are being triggered, but we're being triggered by, and actually the triggering is happening by situation and people around us now, but we are being triggered because of past experiences, okay? So this is where we need to start to look at that. But when we are being triggered, then our brilliance is being injured because our mind becomes dark. When we are angry or frustrated, we cannot think clearly. Our mind becomes dark. So we've got to make sure. So this is the strongest energy at the moment. And which is also advising us then to stop, accept, do some breath in and out. Peace, finding this peace within you, this solid center within you, so you can radiate joy. So this light that is now being dimmed at the moment, so you can start radiate that instead, this joy, and then using this light to actually watch the situation so you can make wise steps forward out of this situation instead of allowing the darkness from your triggers, from the old traumas, to blind you or making things more difficult to see, putting more veils and layers on top of your steps, okay? So we're not proceeding at the moment if we cannot see clearly. As soon as you can see clearly, as soon as you find this piece of center, you can move forward, because then you move forward in wisdom, okay? Let's have a look at the decision. Brilliance injured, favorable to be steadfast and upright in hardship. Yes, so we're going through hardship, okay? There are no news there, but we need to remain steadfast and upright. We need to be truthfully us. We need to make sure that our trauma is not rising to the surface and we are acting from there, right? We are not toddlers, we are grown-ups. We've grown up and we need to act in accordance with that. And with all this hardship that's going on around us, we are learning more and more, and we're becoming stronger and more mature and more loving and more compassionate. We're not lashing out anymore, okay? And we're not even allowing this anger. Even if the anger rises, we see it and then we transmute it as soon as we possibly can, right? Just to keep ourselves safe, you know, because it does harm to your body, like frustrations and anger. So commentary on the decision. Brightness has sunk under the earth, its brilliance injured. Inside is grace and brightness. Inside, so that the inagua. Outside is gentle and yielding, which is the kun. Okay, confronted by great hardship, this is what King Wen experienced. So this is when King Wen went through some really difficult hardship. Favorable to be steadfast and upright in hardship. This is to cover one's brilliance. In the midst of hardship, nonetheless, keeping his mind still and his will righteous. This is what Yi encountered. Yeah, so this is, the center of the lake, still, despite going through difficult times, remain steadfast and upright. Remain truthfully you. Center yourself. We are growing up. We are maturing. We are no longer any toddlers. We are moving forward. We are watching, accepting, watching, and then making our plans to make forward movement, coming from the wisdom of our inner, as well as the logic that we're using to sort of plan our action. Okay, so this is the I Ching reading for today. I hope it was of benefit, and I'm wishing you a beautiful day ahead.